It started as a mistake. Or at least, that's how I justified it in my head. Long hours at the office, too many late nights on projects, and the easy laughter of someone who understood me in a way my husband hadn't in years. That was how Mark slipped into my life. At first it was coffee breaks, lunches, the occasional joke we shouldn't have shared. Then it was dinners after work. Then it was everything. I told myself it didn't mean anything, that I still loved my husband, Daniel. He was steady, dependable, the man I had built my life with. But something about Mark made me feel alive again. Reckless. Wanted. I ignored the guilt, convinced myself I could keep both worlds separate, until the test came back positive. I stared at the two pink lines in the bathroom, my hands shaking so badly I nearly dropped it. Pregnant. With my husband's co-worker's child. My stomach twisted in panic. Daniel and I had been trying for months with no luck. And now I was carrying a child that wasn't his. I didn't know what to do. My plan was to keep it secret, to pretend the baby was his, to bury the truth so deep that it never surfaced. But secrets have a way of clawing their way to the light. Daniel found out. I'll never forget the look on his face when he confronted me. Cold, sharp, not shouting but deadly calm. He had my phone in his hand, my messages with Mark laid bare in front of me. Words of passion, confessions, even my slip of panic after seeing the pregnancy test. "You're pregnant," he said, his voice almost a whisper. "And it's not mine." I opened my mouth to deny it, but the words stuck in my throat. He knew. Completely. Fully. And in that moment, something inside him broke. For the next week, Daniel said almost nothing to me. He still went to work, came home, sat across from me at the dinner table in silence. But his eyes, those eyes that used to soften when he looked at me, were made of stone now. I thought maybe he would scream, throw me out, file for divorce immediately. Instead, he waited. That was the worst part. The waiting, then his revenge began. The first blow came at work. Mark was called into HR one morning and never came back out. By noon, he had been escorted from the building, fired for professional misconduct. Daniel had gathered everything, texts, photos, proof of our affair, and delivered it directly to the company. Mark's career, one he had built for nearly a decade, collapsed overnight. I confronted Daniel that night, my voice shaking. "How could you—" He cut me off. "How could I? How could you?" The second blow was financial. I discovered the joint accounts were frozen, credit cards canceled. Daniel had quietly transferred everything into accounts under his name alone. I had no access to money, no way to move without him knowing. But the most brutal revenge wasn't the financial ruin, or even Mark's destruction. It was what Daniel did next. He invited both our families over for dinner one Saturday evening. My parents, his parents, siblings, all crowded into our living room. I thought maybe it was a truce. Maybe he wanted to save face and pretend nothing was wrong. Halfway through dinner, Daniel stood. He raised his glass and tapped it for attention. "I want to share some news," he said calmly. My stomach dropped. He turned to me, then back to the room. "My wife is pregnant." There were cheers, gasps of joy, my mother clapping her hands together. I felt heat rising in my cheeks, shame crawling up my skin. "But," Daniel continued, his voice cutting through the noise, "the child isn't mine." The room went silent. Forks clattered against plates. My father's face turned pale. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Daniel went on, merciless. "She's been having an affair with her coworker for months. I found out when I discovered the messages on her phone. She got pregnant and planned to pass the child off as mine." Gasps, whispers, my sister shaking her head in disbelief. And me, sitting there frozen, unable to breathe, my whole world unraveling in front of everyone I loved. Daniel placed a folder on the table. Inside were the printed messages, photos, and the test results he'd taken from my phone. "This is everything," he said. Proof. No denials. Tears burned my eyes, but he wasn't finished. "I'll be filing for divorce. She'll walk away with nothing. And I wanted all of you to know exactly why." The silence that followed was suffocating. My father stood, his voice trembling with fury. "You've shamed us," he said to me, his own daughter. "You've destroyed your marriage, your future. How could you do this?" I tried to speak, to explain, but no one wanted to hear me. Daniel had made sure of that. By the time everyone left, I was broken. Mark was gone. My family despised me. Daniel had stripped me of money, reputation, and any shred of dignity I had left. And he had done it all without raising his voice once. The divorce went through swiftly. Daniel's lawyers were relentless. With the evidence of my infidelity, I walked away with nothing but the clothes on my back and the shame I carried. Sometimes I lie awake at night and replay that dinner in my head. The way he calmly dismantled me in front of everyone. It wasn't anger that destroyed me. It was the cold, deliberate patience of a man who had once loved me, and who decided the best revenge wasn't screaming or violence, but absolute ruin. Daniel's revenge was brutal, and he never even had to raise his hand.